get the kind of debate with the Tea Party Patriots which is hard to do. And that's, I mean that a year ago, almost everybody there's been no spell. I'm still doing the same things that I well before those are deep convictions in the Constitution, and they are timeless. And it seems as though a number of Republicans have had a spell cast over them. And well, not in a logical way, because we all know here, this election, the last election of last November wasn't about immigration. I can't come up with a single word uttered between Barack Obama and Mitt Romney in the 3 debates that they did about immigration. I can't remember anything. And if anybody can come up with anything, please tell me. There's something missing here, but if I don't remember it, wouldn't the American consciousness also have forgotten it? And the debate was about jobs and the economy. It wasn't about immigration. And then magically, on the morning of November 7th, there were some well-positioned Republicans who decided it was going to be about immigration. And so they cranked this issue up on the 7th of November, and then there are those within the party that don't stop to analyze the data. They just decide who they want to agree with, and that becomes the axiom that they're living by. Now, so if you start out with a flawed axiom, you're going to end up with a flawed result. The election wasn't about immigration. And second
so
thing,
for the Republican leadership to forge ahead, I mean, driven partly by that, the gap in the Latino votes that we saw in the November election, even though you say the election wasn't about immigration, I mean, how bad of a political mistake are they making?
Democrats spent millions of dollars attacking Republicans to label them racists. They are following a pattern that they think was successful with the African American vote, to divide people against each other, convince them that they should identify themselves by something other than God's creation, pit them against each other because of race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, you name it. You know the labels that they have out there. They are masters at identity politics. And so losing at 4% of the Hispanic vote from 31% down to 27%, because what Mitt Romney said the wrong 2 words? No, I'd say because Democrats spent millions of dollars and went out there and willfully pitted people against each other, and it is wrong to do that. It's worse than wrong. It's a sin to pit people against each other and try to get them to identify themselves as victims groups, and then build coalitions of those victims groups and call the other people all the names that they do. It's wrong, and it's a sin to do that, and I'm not afraid to face it down.
How are your meetings going with the weekly meetings about immigration? How are those sessions going?
Pretty good.
Good.
I mean, when look where we were 3.5 or so months ago, there was nothing going on, and you couldn't identify a second or third person that would take a stand. And now,
can you give a general sense of how big this group is?
No,
why
I
not?
couldn't do that.
No, come on, just a
it is.
ballpark number.
Well, if they bring a bill to the floor, I bet we find out. And but here's what I can tell you: the debate on this most recent immigration debate was launched the morning of November 7th, and it's unlikely that anything comes to the floor in September. That means, if anything, it's October. Now, that moves the ball down the ways, but think of this. Republicans have opted to debate immigration for 12 months. 12 whole months. While Benghazi is pushed on the back burner. While the IRS is still targeting small businesses and discriminating against them.
But they've done a big focus on the IRS, and we can't argue that the House Republicans haven't put a big spotlight on what the IRS has been doing.
Why then are we here?
Can't you do multiple things at once? Or?
I can. But seriously, no. There's no sense in us going down this path. There's no upside for Republicans to go down this path. There's only a downside. And Barack Obama's not in a hurry in solving this, because he'll be happy to see Republicans pitted against Republicans, wedges driven between us, just like they're happy to see wedges driven between Republicans and any other ethnic group that they'd like to have self-identify. And that's what's going on. I mean, I understand the politics of this. I did this a long time ago. I wrote a letter to President Bush on the eve of his amnesty speech that he gave. The letter's dated January 6, 2004. It laid all this out in that letter. Karl Rove and I had a 35-minute discussion over the cell phone that night. And the president went ahead and gave his speech, and we're still in the same old debate. Still trying to do the same old thing. And They have been wrong from the beginning.
All right. Well, thank you. Oh, go ahead. Thank you so much
Oh,
for
in
your
that
time.
poll? Second.
Mark Holmberg, CBS 6
Okay,
News here.
second. Yeah, I will. The
The
poll that you wrote about the other day?
the
The
American
one
Action Network.
About
Your
Iowans?
district?
Yeah, about Iowans? That's not all. So I'm going to suggest, I suspect that you can get any result to a poll you want if you can ask the questions. And I'm going to guess that those are secret questions. And that's probably why we end up with a non-secret result.
Any reaction to
The butter cow? Well, you know, if they'd used real blood, we'd probably cooked her up and ate her, but no, they must have used lead-based paint. So,
Thank you, Congressman, for your time.
yeah.
Quick change of subject.
Okay.
The
Your
Obamacare.
camera's here?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Obamacare and the looks like Congress is going to have a little exemption or a little help to keep them from getting the same kind of treatment as all the members of the country. What's your feeling about that?
Well, remember, Republicans didn't ask for that. The president has taken a pattern of just unilaterally deciding that he's also the United States Congress as well as the president of the United States. And he's just willfully creating law and policy as he goes. So we didn't ask for it. He stuck that out here. And it's a policy that should be brought back before the United States Congress for a vote. The Grassley Amendment clearly says that we'll live under the same laws as everybody else.
Why is that important?
Well, it's important because it was important because when Congress makes a bad decision, they have to live under the bad decision. That's why it's important. And this is a terrible decision, this Obamacare decision. And I've taken a position all along. We need to pull it all out by the roots, rip it out by the roots, so there's not one vestige of it left behind. Because if we do, if we leave it at any part, it'll grow back on us. It'll metastasize like a malignant tumor, and it consumes American liberty. That's what's wrong with Obamacare. And so instead, if we let this thing bleed out this way, and the president can go out and pull some more money in and time his implementation, and they can amend the law as they go, over a time of 5 or 6 or 10 years, we'll be so beaten down, and we're still going to end up with socialized medicine. And it's a terrible decision. So the best route forward for us is first is to cut off the funding to Obamacare. As I tried to get with an amendment that actually passed the House floor sometime in 2011, probably February 15th of 2011 is my guess. So there are others now that want to step on that bandwagon. Good. Let's go for it.
Is there some common ground that could be had here when you say that a new sweeping healthcare reform like Obamacare, that everybody should, get the same, be affected the same way, including members of Congress? I mean, can everybody agree with that? Hey, we're all going to live under this?
Obviously, we don't all agree with that, or the president wouldn't have taken that unilateral action. But I support Grassley's, the philosophy of Grassley's action, but I would not ask everybody in America to live under all the laws that Congress does, because we do have to swim in a fishbowl, and our finances have to be disclosed, and our trades have to be disclosed. Everybody in America doesn't want to do that.
Right.
But the onerous laws that are there that restrict the liberty of citizens, we should have to live under too. Now, I want to say this, though, on behalf of the staff here in Washington and on behalf of the way our finances really are. Congress has frozen its own pay since 2009. We have taken our members' representational allowance, which is the budget that we run our office with, so that it covers payroll, it covers postage, the franking privilege is paid for out of that, and transportation, all the things that we do. We've taken that budget and cut it 18.3%. Not just a cut of the anticipated increase, but the actual flat line. So we've done a lot to conform with the austerity that we're seeking to apply to the rest of government. And this piece that the president has stepped in on, it does address the circumstance that it's hard for us to compete with the private sector in Washington, D.C. That is a fact, and it needs to be said for the good staff that I still have.
Good. I'll let you know. Thank you so much for your time.
That's why I talked in. They can tell you're a professional, and you'll just get right in there and get her done.
There's other people waiting.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good, how are you?
I used to work for Senator.
Oh, really?
Thank you.
Or it'll be on that TikTok on Times Square.
Maybe, but I guess you can't like. That's the way
They get a stipend, but I think
you have to.
And it is partially because there's not going to be much competition.
Well, that's what I was going to say. From talking about this NFL.
angry, but it's just so typical. You know, it's elitism, it's, the ruling class, and that's the way they look at it. They don't care. They don't care.
Good man. Should be able to let yeah, this is on. That's all. Here, talk about it. Is one sitting on the desk? I think Jesse's supposed to do it.
I don't know. I was just like... Oh. All right.
So this is one of those events where we